States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think he'll be here. I mean, I didn't hear anything
To the contrary?
to the contrary. Okay, the first order of business is acceptance of minutes. Can I get a, Cindy moves it, anybody second it? Seconded by John. All those in favor? Tonight we have guests of the board. By the way, is Tom here?
No.
Is he coming? Okay. Dave Bodenstein from Mike Price Insurance is going to go over our insurance renewal. Dave, it's up to you, buddy.
Okay. I'll kind of hit the highlights as we go through. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. As a reminder, on your front cover, of course, the town and the sewer district are both named insureds on your policies, and your carrier is NYMER, New York Municipal Insurance Reciprocal, where you've been insured for quite some time now. If you flip past the table of contents, your first section you should come to, should say blanket building and contents. On the next page, I'm just going to flip back and forth here to these couple of pages for a second. On the next page is actually a schedule of all of your properties. And what they do is they add all of your building and contents limits together, and then they take 90% of that figure, and that's what your premium is based on. And then they lump that entire figure together, and you can use that amount for any one covered loss. So, as an example, at the sewer treatment facility, we've got the main building insured for $570,000. If you were to have a total loss there, and it actually cost you $900 to replace, you wouldn't run out of insurance because that total limit of $2.487 million would actually apply to any one loss. So you shouldn't find yourself ever in a position of being underinsured, especially since you don't have a large concentration of buildings in any one area and they're kind of separated out. The one other thing I guess that I would really point out on that first page, because certainly you've witnessed this before, is your flood and earthquake coverage. What NYMER does is NYMER does include flood and earthquake coverage as part of their policies. But what they do is it is subject to a $25,000 deductible, number one. And number two, it does not provide you coverage in a high hazard zone. High hazard zones are A and V zones. Low hazard zones would be considered X and C zones. So what happens is if you have flood damage that would be covered in an X or a C zone, you would have a $25,000 deductible. If you had flood damage in an A or V zone, what would happen is you would have to actually purchase separate flood insurance coverage in order to get that coverage for those areas. If you didn't have coverage, though, what they would do is your coverage here would still apply, but what they say is the maximum amount of coverage that you could have purchased under the National Flood Insurance Program would essentially act as a deductible. So today the maximum you could purchase is $500,000, so you would actually have a $500,000 deductible if you hadn't purchased coverage. Then you would have your $25,000 deductible that's part of the normal program, and then you would actually have your $1 million of flood coverage. In the very back of the pamphlet, which we can look at in the end, I show pictures of all of your locations with the limits of insurance included in there, and also the hazard zones for each one of those locations. If you flip to page 3, NYMER includes $10,000 of money and securities coverage on and off your premises. This is if somebody other than an employee were to steal from you, they include $10,000 of coverage. The next section is your general liability insurance. This is where you pick up coverage if you get sued. Bodily injury, property damage, personal injury, advertising injury, products and completed operations are all part of your general liability insurance. You have $1 million per occurrence or per claim with a $2 million annual aggregate. So we'll pay $1 million for any one claim will never pay more than $2 million in any one policy year. That's the aggregate.
Now, money and securities, 10,000 inside, 10,000 out.
Yep.
Is that actual cash money, or if somebody swipes a computer, say?
Computer would be covered under your property. That would be considered
Okay.
theft.
Okay.
And when we go back here another couple of pages, you're gonna have some of your public officials. What we do is we actually bond them, because they don't fall under your money and securities. The next section is your public officials liability. Again, $1 million per occurrence with a $2 million annual aggregate. This part of your coverage actually is subject to a $2,500 deductible. I don't know if you would remember this or not, but what NYMER does regarding your deductible is it's done on what we call an indemnification basis. So the deductible applies essentially only if you were to lose that suit. So if somebody brings an action against you that's covered by your public officials coverage, and you actually prevail in the suit, the deductible does not apply. Also under your public officials, your boards are covered. Zoning, planning boards covered under your public officials. The only thing is, the maximum limit for a land use claim is $1 million. It's actually not picked up under your umbrella. Your OCP coverage is required by the state for your hauling and highway permit coverage. Next page on the top is your automobile coverage. No changes here. $1 million of liability insurance. You pick up coverage for your hired and non-owned auto. Uninsured, underinsured motorists is mandatory in New York. Mutual aid covers you for your intermunicipal agreements with your other highway departments when you're doing work. Personal injury protection is no-fault insurance in the state of New York. We're a mandatory no-fault state. The minimum is $50,000. The maximum is $150,000. You carry the $150,000. The OBEL is optional basic economic loss coverage. Essentially, that's an additional $25,000 of no-fault coverage.
Dave, going back to page 3 here
Sure.
on claims liability, does that include legal fees?
Under your public officials,
Yeah.
legal fees are always in our excess of your limit, so they don't lower your limit. So in other words, if you get sued under your public officials, and this would be true under your general liability insurance as well, and you actually lose $1 million suit, but it costs $200,000 to defend you, it doesn't matter because the legal fees are in addition to or in excess of your limits. It doesn't diminish your coverage.
So that would be covered?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Which is always sort of the issue that you want in regards to any liability suit. You hope that it's a covered claim under your insurance policy, because first and foremost you get a legal defense.
Right.
Okay?
Been there, done that.
Going back to page 4 is a copy of your vehicle list. I met with Bill and went over both your vehicle and equipment lists. You've got some stars next to them. Your vehicles with a single star, those are vehicles that are covered. The physical damage, the comprehensive and collision coverage is provided by your inland marine policy. The ones with 2 stars are private passenger type vehicles or pickup trucks, and they're covered under your auto policy under like a traditional auto policy for comprehensive and collision. If you go to the next page, it's your excess liability coverage. $5 million per occurrence with a $10 million annual aggregate. The excess liability goes over top of your other liability policies. Your general liability, auto liability, public officials. So you'd have a total of $6 million for any one covered claim. Again, land use claims are excluded by the umbrella. You'd have $1 million under the public officials coverage, but the umbrella would not apply. Here's the public officials coverage we were talking about. $15,000 blanket bond, and then we have excess limits on those positions. We're bonding the positions, not the individual. So if you have somebody that changes a position, it's not necessary that you notify us. The coverage follows automatically. Your bond coverage is the only thing that is not provided by NYMER. They do not do bonding. Your bond is covered by National Grange, and that actually renews January 1st. It has renewed already. It's the only thing that's other than your current date. Next page is a copy of all of your equipment. again, I went through this with Bill. We made a few changes here, added a few things, reduced a few things. The EDP that we refer to down on the bottom is electronic data processing equipment, computer equipment, photocopy machines, that kind of stuff. We give you an additional $25,000 of coverage there, and then miscellaneous tools and equipment for $15,000.
Is number 12 the grade all?
Is number 12 the grade all? Yes, sir. Here under your equipment as opposed to your trucks, just for your own information, when we're talking about values, what they do is it's what we call similar, like, kind, and quality. So in other words, your grade all, let's use as an example, if that grade all were to be totaled, it burns up, whatever the case may be, the question is what would it cost you to go out and get a similar piece of equipment, similar condition, similar hours? Based on that is what we should be using for a value when we value the equipment. Next page, we have your sewer department equipment listed out there, and then also your limits on the trucks. Again, anything other than a pickup, the dumps, we get two things we get to do here. Anything that's 10 years old or newer, you get to insure on a replacement cost basis. So it's not what you paid for it, it's what it would actually cost to replace today. Once they go beyond 10 years old, we go back to that similar, like, kind, and quality. So again, we made a few changes here. We lowered a few trucks and actually increased a few trucks, the limits. On the bottom, we just give you a summary of the total limits by department and a total. Next page is your premium summary. You're within $200 of what you paid last year. And on the bottom, I give you some historical data. Your high was $44,000. 10 years ago, you paid $40,000. You're paying about 20% less with a lot more coverage than you did 10 years ago. Just like the price of fuel or bread, only different. The last few pages, I believe, are just the pictures of each location, again, with the limits, and then you'll see there we have the flood zones listed out. All of yours are in A or B zones, I believe.
AE.
Yep, with the exception of,
The sewer plant.
yep, the clarifier. And that, we had actually even talked about the possibility of trying to get flood coverage on, and you actually can't get flood coverage for that under the National Flood Insurance Program. They won't provide coverage for tanks. So even if you wanted it, as hard as that is to believe, you can't buy it.
The designation for the AE, is that from actual surveys of elevations, or did they just take it from the map?
From the map, yeah.
He's down here.
Location 8 there is the streetscape.
Yes.
You know, that's the cover the grant.
Hey, Dave,
Yes, sir.
on page 2, with the different coverages on the buildings, and then on the page, the first page with the schedule of locations, on this building, which is the meeting hall, and the back building, which is the town hall, the content limits,
Yes.
are those numbers right? 52,000?
That seems awfully low.
I believe that they're correct, but I can certainly check on it.
Because
We
105.
have less over here than we have over there.
You know what, I think they're
It might be
We might
inverted.
be, they might be
I
inverted.
think they're inverted, because on the pictures, it has 52.5 for here and 105 for the back, which makes sense. But on the schedule on page 2,
Yeah,
it's
they're
That's what it
inverted.
is, because we
They're
haven't changed
inverted.
anything
Yeah,
on the
okay.
pictures except the new location that you added.
So they should be reversed.
Thank you.
I'll get you a corrected copy.
They're both, the building limits are the same, so it's easy, I can see how it happened.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Any questions from the board?
No, I'm good.
Well, thank you, Dave.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Boy, you just made it, Tom. You did. You're next.
And-
thought it was next week.
Oh, We need a, I'm sorry, we need a motion to renew the.
I'll make that motion.
This is effective February 1st. Dave, this is a February 1 renewal?
Okay.
February
I
1?
can't remember if it's February 1st or February 5th.
I bet it's something like that.
Yeah.
So can I get him, okay, John?
I made the motion.
Yeah.
Oh, you made the
I
motion.
made the motion.
Now second.
Okay, you got it? Welcome, Tom.
Thank you.
This is Tom Kirshner, guest of the board.
Yes.
You'd like to talk to us, I think, about the fire department.
Yes, I'll stand up here so I'm not blocking anybody. If you don't stand behind it, my buddy Al Steffen can go past me. My name is Tom Kirshner. I'm a member of the Jeff Fire Department. I've been a commissioner for over 30 years, department about 50. Presently, I'm a vice president of the County Association of Fire Districts. And I'm here to speak to you about his communications, as I see firemen here, so that makes me feel better. As you have, I was to a village of Calhoun, or town of Calhoun the other night. And there I had time, I had the support of all the fire departments in that township. And I thought your meeting was next week, so I didn't call anybody. So I know a lot of the people from Calhoun and Hortonville and so forth are down at the government center, so I'm sure they're behind what I'm going to say. I'm trying to be short about this rather than get too long, because I can go too long on it. The system we have now is outdated. You can't get parts for it. We have a lot of problems with it. You have the clutter under low band. We don't hear it a lot of times. And what we've done, like Hortonville and Jeff, I know we've done a lot of similar stuff. We got repeaters, so it repeats to us. We went to high band portable radios because we had May days where fireman goes down. You couldn't hear in the low band with the stuff that was going on. So we all bought a lot of high band stuff already. Town of Rockland fire districts went together and got a grant. They went with trucks, radios, everything already. But our county is still low band, and they need just to abbreviate this a little bit, it's a big money problem. The cost is $10 million, which is going to raise county taxes high. And this is how it's already put out in the papers. But little truth behind this all is it's going to be over a 4-year time frame. It can be divided out. We're into our 2nd year already now, and what happens with these frequency, to get a high band frequency that would be long enough to work, it would have to go from our county, of course, like for here to go into Wayne County, that way to go up into Delaware County, etc. around. So this high band frequency, the length of it's important, and they don't make them no more. Now Motorola Corporation has found an old Coast Guard high band frequency which they bought, which will sell to us. The cost of that frequency is $4 million, and we need that. The next highest, I'm just going to get ahead of myself a little bit and go back. The county had Bureau of Fire and the 911 Center had a PowerPoint presentation on this, and there was 20-some counties in New York State doing the same thing we are. We are by far the cheapest at $10 million. The next nearest thing for us is Delaware County, which is $24 million, and it goes up from there. Now these other counties are like vultures in a tree, crows, whatever you call it. They're waiting to see, because Motorola has just given us time now to see what we can do with the county with this to get it, and if not, these other ones are going to come in. The next choice for us is $24 million, which then you go to a broadband, which we feel we don't really need. That's the ultimate today, because we don't have to talk to Albany and Buffalo. We talk to what we have to do, and the high band frequency is more than good enough. Going back on the $10 million, we already got $2 million in grants. That knocks it down to $8 million. We've gotten through Homeland all the generators for all the towers, which we have 6 which will be rebuilt and 3 new ones built, which will be up and down the river corner here. So Hortonville, Calhoun, Harrisburg, etc. can talk. You understand over here a lot of the fire districts have went together and we're trying to get a federal grant on the high band line. So everything's working out. On the costs of fire districts individually, we've been 5 years saving for this, because this thing is into its 6th year study already. And most of the districts have the money. I know in Jeff we have 5 trucks, 3 chief's vehicles, 30-some pagers we need and so forth. It's going to be about $25,000. If you go bigger, companies need a little bit more, of course. Some of them say they need $70,000. None of us understand why. But if we go to broadband, which is a $24 million program, it's going to be price prohibitive for any fire district because everything there jumps up on the cost on that. So why I'm here is to urge the town board here, for all the fire districts over here, over in my area, to write a letter to the Board of Legislatures asking them to go ahead with this project. What we have now is you have 9 legislators, 6 of them are saying they support us, but they of course not had a money vote yet, which comes in March. We have, you guys are lucky, I'll put it like that, you got Samuelson, he's behind us all the way. We have Laguda, she's all behind us. What's against us is Kitty Vetters up there in Roscoe area, a gentleman down in Roscoe, Marcel Rock Hill area is against us. And of course, big time is our Cindy Geiger over there. And it is a big jump for the county, but that county puts it out as $10 million 1 year. That's not true. It's over 4 years, which would be divided out. So, well, I'm asking the, is that you write a letter to the county supporting this program, please. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple. Tom, what is the program called? It's a
Blue-
communication program.
Blue Wing.
Called what?
Blue Wing.
Blue Wing.
And Blue Wing is the name of the company that did all the studies, all the everything with this. They do not sell nothing. They just study and maybe tell you where you can buy stuff and do stuff. And they got hundreds of thousands of dollars, our county interests already doing the study, you know, which everybody in Hortonville and Jeff knows it don't work. So they give you the reasons why it don't work. Just one more thing. I want to say what happened to us and Jeff is for the last 2 years, half the time our siren wouldn't blow, then all of a sudden it would blow up sometime all by itself. So we start with ourselves. Firemen are kind of people that look at their own problems first rather than going out and say, you're causing it. So we replaced stuff on our panels. We did this, we did that. They found out we're finally good. We went to the county. They started saying one of their stations was doing it. Well, we had 2 calls in one day from 2 different stations. It didn't work. So that was the opportunity for us to go around and test all the stations, you know, and which they did. They all pretty much worked that day. Next day the siren didn't blow. So further testing, this is over a year and a half year and a half time, because I say 2 years. We cured it 6 months ago. It was the Tenaya Lake Tower was so decrepit, it was just working and not working. We changed towers to Elks Point and Liberty, now we work. But this whole county is having problems with this. I'm going to go one point, little immaterial. Tell me to shut up if I'm getting too long here. But in 94 and 95, we had problems, big problems too. And this system we got now is over 30 years old. Back in the 70s it started and so forth. I wrote letters to a gentleman, which the older guys will all know, maybe everybody here, the Pope, which was the Public Works Commissioner in the county. And he wrote back, at this time, we don't have any technology to handle the problems we have. 2 years later, we got a letter over there that says we have the technology, but it's $250,000 a tower. They don't have the money. Well, we don't have the money now, but somewhere along the line, rather than going from 10 million to 24 million, myself and most of the people in the county and the county Bureau of Fire, 9 of them, so I think we got to do something now. And our big bite's going to be right now at that 4 million to buy that frequency, the high band frequency. Anything else I could answer?
Anybody got any questions?
Yes, ma'am?
Is it appropriate for me to ask a question?
Yeah, I guess so. Go ahead.
How, with this storm Sandy, that could have come right over us, had it not made a left-hand turn into Pennsylvania, how would your department have benefited from this new, you know, can you contrast the situation you have now technically and what the new one would?
I would try to, and you Hortonville guys can help me out here. Yeah, our system would have worked. It would have alerted us. We would have done what we could do. Where things would have went down, we would have been hurt. something they never add, but it's very important. Our old system, and this is not really how bad the system is, but it's a plus bonus for all of us. We all have LoSAP, which we call, and it's a retirement program and retention and recruitment program. We have weeks where we go out and do different things to get new members. Well, now with the low band system we have, they push a button, and the only thing that works is off that tower that they push the button on. The new system has what they call Stimulcast. They push a button, it goes off every county, all 9 towers it'll be. Which means, like right now, I could be up to my stepson's house and Miles's. Jeff has a fire, I don't know it. I could be my hunting camp in Lava in the valley. I don't know it. I could be on top of any big hill. That comes in beautiful there. So that's going to bring firemen out of the woodwork that don't know there's a fire, working around the county vacation and whatever they're doing to come home and help out. So that's a big bonus for us too with the low manpower that we have today. And you answered your question, I think we would have made it work, but with the new system, with the way we can communicate, it would be perfect. Like I know with our low band portables, which were $700 and some each years ago, we can't talk from end of Main Street from Jeff to the other with the clutter or the static that's on them today. The new ones, which cost $255, the new high band ones, we just bought 19 of them, I guess. I'm almost guessing we could get up in the hill here and talk to Jeff. I know Loch Sheldrake can talk to Hurleyville. People in Hurleyville can talk to people in Monticello. A lot of the county has went on these portables, right, just for the reason when a fireman goes through the floor, through the roof, goes a Mayday, that you know about it. We had in the county a while back, 2 firemen fell through a floor. Each had the old portable on them. One got damaged, one worked, nobody heard it. They were able to get themselves out. Thank God they did. So it's very important for our safety and safety of all our people and what we can help you out. So we're asking, we always help you, we want to help you, we will help you, but we're helping for a little support in the county level if you can write a letter. Any more, Ed?
Anybody else have any questions? Thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much for listening to me.
Tom. You want a motion on that?
Well, if somebody wants to make a motion, sure.
I'll make a motion.
That we write a letter of support.
Write a letter in support.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Okay. Tess, you're up.
Okay. December receipts total $2,198.25, with $2,194.25 turned over to the supervisor. Of that, $2,147.25 was building fees. I provided the board with a 5-year comparison chart of receipts for all the offices. Let's see, tax payments are rolling in steadily. To date, I've collected about $900,000, so that's pretty good for the 15th. Correspondence, we received a denial from the New York State DOT to change the speed limit on Creamery Road by the youth center. They're leaving it at 30 miles an hour and suggested children at play signs. Both Virginia and Renee provided me with status reports from ORPS on their continuing education, and both reports were provided to you so you can see which classes they've taken. On January 7th, we received the highway inventory and town road map from DPW, and that's hanging in the conference room. We received the annual financial report from the Hortonville Fire Company, and the Association of Towns is having their annual meeting in New York on February 17th through the 20th, and I have information on that if anyone is interested. And that's my report.
Okay. Bill?
You could just pass these around. There might be a few more than you need. This is the Highway 1 agreement. It allows the highway superintendent to spend money for the repair of roads and pipes and so on and so forth. So what I was intending to do was Villa Roma Road from County Road 164 towards Polster Road, which would be right down to where the laundromat is, it'd be roughly a half a mile. We'd mill it down 2.5 inches and repave it 3. So when you compact it, it's right down to where it belongs. The remainder of the money would be used for pipes and sealing and patching and just like we've always done.
This is the same amount that it was last year.
Yeah,
This is-
this budget hasn't been increased, I think, in 3 years. We've tried to keep everything down as low as we can. This is from the 164 on the turn, going towards Polster Road.
You just did that last
No,
year.
no, this is going towards Polster.
Yeah.
It's going in
Oh.
front of the motel, the hotel down
Okay.
to the
now-
laundromat.
Okay.
Where we stop,
Okay,
because what's happened up there over,
Oh,
that hasn't had
okay.
anything done to it since 1994.
okay.
And what's happened then is the town has been in a few
You're coming in
claims
the
and
other way.
stuff where people twist their ankles and this and that. It really needs to be rectified.
Is there any chance as part of your blacktopping that you could do the parking lot across the street?
Yeah, well, that's fire department property, that's not the town's, I think, isn't it? That's the fire department.
But we use it.
Yeah.
And we work out
So I'm supposed to drain my budget just to, that ain't working either.
I guess not.
No, I guess not. I mean, if you want a fair way to come up with the money, I'll gladly pay it.
Is that real blacktop, Bill, or?
That's
Cinco?
pug mill, just like we've always done.
Okay, now this is this a, I should have, this is coming up on the new business, isn't it? Yeah, on item B.
You can sign it now if you want to.
So, we need a motion from someone,
So moved.
and second?
Second.
Okay, Al seconds it.
Ed, it needs to be signed in duplicate.
Right.
This has to be duplicate?
Yeah, there need to be two
So give me,
copies
Two
of
of
it.
give me one, and I got one, and we'll send it around.
I'll be.
Chips are, I'd rather not.
I guess we'll do this, I'll sign this later, we'll pass it around later.
So we can't work out something with the fire department.
That's between the town board and the department. You know what I mean? I would gladly do it, but it's not my property, nor is it the town's. I really
No,
can't.
if you think you can do it, then we'll have to
I mean,
contact
we'll
the
have
fire
to just see how, you want me to sign one of these? Just
Yeah, I don't have one though.
Well, you gotta sign two, we need two of them.
We'll sign them now, guys, just pass them around, we'll be done. We already have.
I'll sign it here too, I guess.
No, I got them here.
We're gonna have just two copies.
Oh,
Two around the sign, so they all get the same sign.
we could do that. We can make sure.
I don't hear you make 50, gotta have at least two.
Okay, while that's being passed around, Howard, you're up, and I can't help myself, I have to say happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you. There's, new activity is not much this month, it's typical for this time of year, but there's still quite a few ongoing jobs from December that are in progress. And you know, we were down a little bit from last year, total permits, but we had 5 new homes last year, which is not too bad considering the state of things. And hopefully we'll have more than that this year.
Okay, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'm gonna.
happy birthday, you want us to sing?
No. No, because I have a birthday dinner appointment. So I'm gonna bid you all good night.
We want cake.
Next next report is assessor's report, and I'd like to introduce Renee, our new sole assessor, Renee Ozimak. And she has a first report, so welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here. And I'm your new sole assessor in Virginia. I'm very happy that she stayed on as deputy assessor. You may know that Virginia was instrumental in applying for a tag grant along with Kara McElroy. And we now have in the assessor's office the tax maps, which are now, we have topography maps and soil maps, which will help us very much in our work and in our upcoming reassessment. think that was announced earlier. It's really time for the town to do a town-wide reassessment. It's long overdue, and we really need to establish equity in the town. And we're planning to do that for the 2015 roll. What we're going to do is have a separate page on the town website with information about that. That should be available later this month. To begin with, we'll have a public information session on Wednesday, January 30th at 7 p.m. That will be here. And attending will be John Walham, who is from ORPS, from the New York State. He's I believe our regional director. And Linda Levine, the county director from Real Property Tax Services, will also be here to help explain the whole process and what we're going to do and when, and it will take approximately 2 years. So on the town website, we'll have more information about that, what a reassessment is, why we need to do it, and we'll also have on there a schedule, a road-by-road schedule, that the public can check periodically to see when we'll be in your neighborhood. As you know, we'll be having a data collector, Joe Milan, who will be helping collect data for this project. He will have photo ID and have a vehicle with the Town of Delaware signs on it, so you can easily recognize him. And one thing we do need to stress is during the reassessment, we do need cooperation from all property owners. Our reassessment can only be as good as accurate information that we get. And we really strive to be fair. We want this to be a success, and we want it to be fair to everyone. So we do hope everyone will cooperate. Our office hours were open every day except Tuesday. We're open Monday, Thursday, Friday from 8 to 3. Wednesdays from 8 to 12, and it's exemption time right now, so for January, February, we're open from 9 to 12 on Saturday. All exemptions, renewals, applications are due by March 1st. And I want to remind seniors that for the Enhanced Star, you can be 64, as long as you'll be 65 by the end of the year, you can still apply for the exemption. And I think that's it. Anything else?
What day is your meeting again?
Wednesday, January 30th.
10:30, what time?
7 p.m.
What is his name, John, the fellow from ORPS?
Walham, W-O-L-H-A-M.
And you're open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from
Monday, Thursday, Friday.
Monday, Thursday.
It's different.
8 different hours, 8 to 3, and then Wednesday, 8 to 12.
8 to 3, and Saturday till noon.
9 to 12. Here. And we hope to have the website available by the 30th, by that same day.
All right, good. Well, thank you. Kara, is she here?
No.
Did she say she was? I guess she did.
I don't know.
Okay, we don't have a grants coordinator here today. Is Mike here, Mike Janicki, or anybody from the Calico Creek Park? Not much going up. There's no concerts this month, huh? Okay, Harold, you're up, UGC rep.
Yes, I have some here. I messed up, I'll let you guys share that one. One for you, and then when we're done, I'll give you mine, because I don't need it. As far as the storage goes, this was from this one I have here is from the 28th. And the reason I brought that down is you can see the long-term median over a period of 2 years. Well, we're into a new year. So it has now changed to this. It's all been moved back so that as the year goes on, you can see. But what I really wanted to show you was how high we were last year, if you can see this way up above the median observed. So that's much higher than usual. But now we're down into a new year, and we're still above the long-term median, but not by too much. It said, according to, and this was January 11th, it said that the New York City daily storage was at 81.1%, which means the water has come down somewhat, and there may be snows, especially back on some of the hills up in Delaware County where some of these are. There's probably going to be more snow on the ground. So that's maybe a pretty good thing. It's going on. And these are kind of interesting. You can get this on the website. So you don't really need me for this. You can just look this up, DRBC, and they have those, you hit the PDF and boom, there it comes up, and these are pretty colored. The UDC had its first meeting and the new election of chair and treasurer. So the new chair this year is from Damascus, and the vice chair is Andrew Boyer from Highland, and the treasurer is Jack Niflot from Fremont. Jack has been the treasurer for years and years and years. They try to rotate chair. We got two things, state to state, but now that there are more people in Pennsylvania, it works out pretty decent. And usually nobody gets to be chair until everybody else has had a turn ahead of them. Except for Fremont, never had a chair. They don't want it. I've been trying to convince Jack for years, but he just won't budge. He'll stay a treasurer. He's good. I'm only kidding. We had, do you mind if I talk about that meeting we had?
Yeah, I was going to bring it up, but you go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just start with a little and you fill it in. The town of Delaware, and Jerry can fill it in too, he knows a lot more about what was going on there. They're changing some zoning in the corridor. They may be changing it elsewhere too, but the UDC was concerned about what's going on in the corridor. And there was some misinformation between what we had presented to them and what the Park Service got. So they answered back, and there was a lot of misunderstanding. So what was wonderful about this whole thing is that we had a great meeting yesterday, and it was at the UDC office, and two people from the UDC were there. The town of Delaware, Ed was there, John, my friend Al, Jerry was there. Who else? Did I miss anybody from the town of?
Mike.
Mike Chudnicki showed up too. And Warren Blumenthal also from the town. So this is the first time I've ever been at a UDC meeting where we had so many good representatives from our own town to sit with the National Park Service and the UDC to iron this out. And once it was understood that there was misunderstanding, that the paperwork represented something in the past, not what the changes that had been proposed, it was smoothed right over. Boom, it was done. And as a result of this, I'm going to be asking the UDC to try to reach out and get to towns more instead of being just down there. Because I think this type of thing was very good. It opened up communication. The whole thing was all about communication. And once that was open and everybody understood it, it went along just beautifully. So that's the kind of cooperation that I like to see, and I'm very proud to have been part of it. And that's my report.
Let's see, well, I'm up next. I'm going to kind of dovetail into that UDC meeting. You know, our planning board, we have a terrific planning board. They spent a lot of time working on the zoning revisions, and it's a couple of years now, and we're getting very close for you to give that to us, and then we'll call a public meeting. We were waiting, UDC, we wanted UDC and Park Service approval, which basically we got at that meeting. I mean, a couple of things we have to tweak, I guess, is all. So, we have the MMTF, the road use law that we're trying to pass in the town. We had a public hearing, but as a result of that public hearing, there were more questions asked. So what we've decided to do is have somebody from Delta Engineering, which is the sponsoring engineering firm, come down for questions, answer questions, Q&A here at the town. And they're going to be, and also the town of Callicoon is going to join us at that meeting. It's open to the public. It's been announced in the Democrat. I believe it was on public radio also, and it's on the 24th of this month. Is that
That's a week from tomorrow.
Thursday, yeah, right. 7 o'clock right here. So hopefully they can answer the questions that some of the people had that we couldn't answer. And I think maybe put some of the misconceptions to bed also. Some people may recall that we had when they did the bridge in Calhoun, it's a nice job, by the way. I think it's a
Yes.
nice job. It looks like
nice.
I'm glad it's done. Glad it's over. But they bid, if you recall, $20,000, and we had to agree to that, and plus any additional costs that may arise. Well, when they raised the bridge is a little higher than the old one. When they did that, the engineer said that there would be an airlock and required a pressure relief valve to be put in.
In the waste pipe?
Not, well, it's for the waste pipe. It's gonna be fun, isn't it? Well, but that, that brought more problems because it raised it up, the pipe got closer to the surface. And we had to do some, they built a manhole cover, and they put some heat tape. They have another name for it, but they actually did it. They have a fail-safe too, so if one fails, the other will come on. But that worked, and there was some additional electric work out of the pump station that they didn't know about in the beginning. We got the bill. The long and the short is we got the bill is $29,000. It's an additional $9,000. I was afraid it could be more. I really was. So, but it's something we have to pay, and I just wanted to. The land purchase is moving along. We're in contract. We'll be hopefully closing. We've had it surveyed, and we're moving along with all the other steps. I guess I don't have. There's some other things down on the old business and new business, but that's the end of my report. Anybody on the council have any comments or any questions?
Did we have to do any soil studies on the new property?
Yes. You mean
percolation or?
Well, no, we didn't do any percolation, but we had to, of course, the archaeological significance, that report is in, and we're free to go ahead. We had to do, our engineer said that we had to have, the survey had to be 1 foot contours. And it was kind of a rush to get that done before the snow came, so they could do that. And that's also completed. So, right now, I guess we're just ironing out some.
Yeah, and then we'll go to the planning board for.
Yeah, we've decided to go to the planning board. I'm not sure we need to, but we're gonna do
I
it.
think we do, on the subdivision, I think we do. The site development, we don't, but you guys talked about that last month, and it agreed you would submit
We'd do
to
it anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I do think we have to get the subdivision approval.
Yeah.
And you know what, that's not a bad thing, because it'll cover the seeker process, and the planning board, which is in a much better position to do that. They do it all the time, so.
I have nothing else on that. You guys have any other questions?
No.
We'll be proceeding sometime, I presume, about the actual building that goes on here.
Yeah, well,
Are we
we've
gonna
got.
look for grants
Well, as a
and
matter of
stuff?
fact, as a matter of fact, I have an appointment on February 6th with Kara, with the USDA in Monticello to explore grant options. Also FEMA. I mean, this is going to be a shotgun approach. We're going to try a lot of different things. Yes,
Yeah, all right.
and that's in the works. Any other council comment? Under old business, you may recall that we approved at the organizational meeting the data collector, but we approved it on a contract basis. And we think that might have been a mistake. After speaking with the data collector, Joe, I'm sorry. There are some issues, there's some insurance issues. You know, he's a guy that has to go out into other people's property. I mean, you know, he could get bit by a dog, he could slip and fall. And if he's not an employee, he's not covered for workers' compensation. And that really basically doesn't really cost us anything to do that.
No, in fact, Ed, it would probably limit our liability. in
Yeah,
some
it would
respects,
help our
or liability to him.
Yeah. And then the addition, we will, as an employee, he would be included in the pension program, but it's a fairly small, we've budgeted $5,000 in payroll, but it's short-term. I don't expect that to be much of a cost at all. I mean, I can't imagine it being more than a few $100s, you know. So my recommendation is that we do make him an employee.
Is that on an hourly basis then?
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, I mean, he's still paid the same way.
I think it's prudent, I'll second it.
All those in favor?
I have one more
Sure.
question. Just to be sure that if he does become an employee, is it something that we're gonna have perpetual?
No.
In other words, this is just gonna be for the data collecting
Yeah.
that we're doing for this revision,
Yes.
and that's it?
He's still
So
a
it's-
temporary employee.
And-
Temporary
And
part,
an hourly employee.
Yeah, okay, so that's what I was concerned about, that all of a sudden we don't end up with somebody on the payroll.
Temporary,
that-
part-time
trying to find
basis.
work for them to do.
subject to your discretion
That's needed.
as needed.
I could go along with that.
Okay, I have a motion. Second?
John made it,
Second.
Al seconded
I
it.
got no
All
problem.
those in
with
favor?
Aye.
Good.
So that was old business. That's the rescinding the resolution that we had originally on a contract basis. New business is that we have to appoint a new planning board member, Tim Mullally. I don't know if everybody knows Tim. He lives up in the Beechwoods. He's a businessman, has a business actually has a business now, and he just opened in Monticello too.
Right.
But he has a business in Jeffersonville also. He's a John Deere equipment dealer. And I'd like somebody to nominate him, and
I'll nominate him.
I'll nominate him. Somebody second?
I'll second it
All those in favor? We've already done the agreement on highway expenditures. Oh, we can't get away from you, Renee.
No. I'll keep you busy.
One of Renee's recommendations was, since we're going through a reassessment, that we have a larger Board of Assessment review.
Yes, that's correct.
And we have 3 now. Eddie Raum, Noreen Mudge, and Evelyn Rupert. She'd like to expand that to 5. And I agree that as a result of the reassessment, we probably will need more folks.
Sure you will.
It'll be, I think it would be prudent to have them. And the names that have been mentioned, I'm trying to remember the guy from River Road.
Vincent
Yeah, Vince, what's his last name?
Aluconis.
Al Uconis. Now, why would I remember that? He has a background in negotiations, and I think he could be a valuable guy on the board. And the other is the real estate man from the Beechwoods,
David Knudsen,
David Knudsen.
fire broker.
And so those are two men we've nominated. I'd like to have somebody, I'd like to have somebody nominate them. And
I'd like to nominate them.
They can't, no, we have to introduce the local law.
Oh, that's right, we have to change the law. I'm sorry. All right, yeah, that's right, I'm sorry. We found out after otherwise we would have done this at the organizational meeting. In order to do this, we have to change the law, I'm sorry, folks. And change it from 3 to 5. So, and we're gonna have to have a public hearing.
Yep.
So,
Alrighty then.
somebody make a,
Yeah, I think everybody has on their,
They have it.
yeah, you all have the introductory
Yes.
resolution and the fairly simple
Yeah.
form of local law.
so will somebody move the resolution?
I'll make that motion. Second.
You got the names? All those in
Yeah.
favor?
Aye.
Okay, can the public hearing?
The public hearing date is
February 20th.
February 20th, 6:55 PM. It sounds like it's just before the town board meeting,
Yeah. 6:45?
6:55.
I got 10 minutes more,
Okay.
And
So when that's passed, then we can
Then we go from there.
then at the next meeting, maybe that same meeting we can do that, I guess. I got ahead of myself, I apologize. It's a good thing I got Kenny here to watch me.
He's watching me.
That's why he gets paid for the big bucks.
I'm watching you.
The last thing on our agenda is some folks, I hope, almost everybody in the town knew Bill Schultz. He was a justice here for 40-some years, a long time. He was a Callicoon fire chief. He was active with the Rifle Club for ages and ages. A real community guy, very active in his church, and a man of respect. And we're all sad at his passing. And I have a resolution here that I'd like to read. Whereas the people of the town of Delaware have been grieved by the passing of one of our former public officials who served with honor and dignity, Honorable William E. Schultz, a respected citizen of the town of Delaware. And whereas the Honorable William E. Schultz had served the town of Delaware as a justice from 1966 through 2008. And whereas during this period of service, he had diligently performed his duties and had always exhibited those qualities essential as a public servant. And whereas William E. Schultz had the respect and admiration of all who worked or who became associated with him, and always conducted himself with dignity, honor, and kindness toward his fellow man and for the welfare of the town. And whereas he has earned the affection of a host of area residents who were proud to call him friend, and his dedication to the best interests of the community has won the high regard of all who knew him. And whereas his death leaves our community with a deep feeling of sorrow for the loss of such an honored and respected citizen. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Delaware Town Board expressed its most sincere sympathy at the passing of Honorable Justice William E. Schultz on January 14th, 2013, and extend its condolences to his family, and in respect of his memory, cause this resolution to be a part of the official minutes of the Town Board, by order of the Town Board. Sad day.
I'd just like to add that Bill affected a lot of lives in this town, this community for a lot of years, and all in a positive way. He's a terrific guy. I worked with him many years, not worked with him. We had the Rifle Club up here, and oh gosh, he was, I can't begin to say how many years, and with the youth and kids and whatnot, so he affected a lot of lives, and all positive. Wonderful guy.
We shall sadly miss him.
Okay, now, I think this is inverted. I think we should have a resolution to accept the abstract and audit the bills, and then I can open to public comment after that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, second by Harold. And now comes public comment. Do we have any comment from the public?
Tom Kapner first.
Oh, you have speakers?
Tom Kapner.
Oh, he called. All right, we don't have you're the only one on the list now.
I'm gonna pass.
You gonna pass?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Shoot.
The property that the town is buying,
is 6 acres, and the price is how much?
It's actually 3.83 acres. And what happened when, in 2000, when did the county, the state take that?
It had to been 2008,
10?
9, 10, somewhere in
I think it was 2010. They took, it was approximated originally at 5 acres. They took an acre and change off of that. It's not so much the amount of acreage, it's the location.
Right. And the price of it is?
$100,000.
I don't understand. Well, how could 3 acres be $100,000?
It depends on which 3 acres.
Well, you could have 3 of mine, and I'll give them to you for $25,000.
Well,
I don't get it. Where are they? What makes these so much more valuable than any other acres in town? It's like by
Location.
I understand location is it, but that much of a location?
Yeah, it's a good location. And it's been, actually, go back 14 or 15 years ago, the previous town boards and supervisors had negotiated, and the price was much too high.
More than twice that.
Yeah, it was.
It's actually in the center of town.
It is the center of town. It's right off a state highway. Drainage is good. It'll eliminate all the problems that we have now with flooding.
Who owns the property?
Coon Rock
Hunting Club.
Hunting Club.
For that price, I got 20 acres on the hill, I'll tell you, if that's the going rate. Got a house there you can store your stuff in. That's ludicrous. How much more do you expect people to give for taxes and everything else? You're driving people out of this town spending all this money. No reason for it.
John, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
What do you think it costs me every time that it rains? What do you think it costs out of my budget? Move things, do this, do that.
I'm not
No, but what I'm
disputing the
sa-
fact that
what I'm
your town
saying
hall
is-
needs to be located.
Right.
That has been a nightmare down there since when I was fire chief 10 years ago. I understand your dilemma. The $100,000 for 3 acres is what's got a lot of people upset. How can you justify it?
You know, I don't know what you can justify in life anymore. Really. What are you gonna do? I mean,
You gotta draw the line someplace. Yes, we need a new town barn, but for that kind of money, if you're spending that kind of money just for the property, what are you planning on spending for a building?
I don't tell.
Now, will that have to go out to public referendum, or can you guys do that on your own? How is that gonna work, may I ask? When it comes time to actually lay in ground, you guys can do that without the public's approval, or does that gotta go to a public bond for us, the taxpayers, to say, yes, we want you to spend that money?
We want to do this with grant money if we can, and that's what we're working on. We can't even go for grants unless you own the property.
I understand that.
So it's kind of, the chicken and the egg routine. I've had many calls from people. Joe DeFalco called.
Call me too.
I have lots of calls from people that would sell me their land all of a sudden. You should know that for 6 months, Bill and I went around this town trying to find suitable locations. We found a couple of them. They were not for sale.
That's correct.
And this is not, this was not something that was just a brainstorm. This has been going on for 15 years. No, you don't. 15 years ago, there were negotiations for that specific property.
I know that, when it was
Okay.
reclaimed.
So, it's not, and you probably know what the price was 15 years ago.
Rough idea.
Okay.
More than it is now.
That really is not a bad price for a piece of commercial property in that location. It really is not an outrageous price.
Depends on if you're buying or selling, Jay.
Well,
know what I mean?
from a real estate point of view, 28 years of experience, I can tell you that that is not an outrageous price for that piece of property.
We'll get it appraised. We have
I got,
appraisers right here.
there's property on River Road, residential property, 4.5 acre lots, that recently went for
85.
$285,000. That's a what?
On the river.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a commercial site, It's, you know, you have to have a lot, I mean, it isn't, everybody just throws out this, oh, it's only, would you feel better if it was 30 acres?
Listen.
Because we're only gonna use 3 or 4, you know, that's all we need.
Just down the road is my house on 7.27 acres, and the taxes are $6,000 a year. $500 a month. Now, you wanna talk to me about $100,000 being a ripoff, let's discuss that, though. I mean, we can
keep opening that can bigger and bigger.
Well, what I'm saying, Duff, is you ain't getting nothing for nothing. If you want it, if this is what you gotta do.
It's not, it really isn't a bad price.
It's not.
It's actually, it's a decent price compared to what it was.
I'll say.
$100,000 scares anybody, but what's $100,000? I mean, in reality.
That's a lot of money.
It is, but what is, a car is 50. The average car costs you $50,000.
What Calico Paul pay for that piece of property?
Have any other comments, any other questions?
100% sure.
Yeah, I mean, on this subject, I have a couple of other questions.
Yeah, that was less.
The town, when you said you have a surplus, you have $100,000 in the bank. What else is in the bank? We've paid taxes all along.
We've had
And-
approximately $400,000 in surplus.
Which means you've collected too many taxes from us.
Well, first of all, don't say I've
No,
collected.
I don't mean
Well, that's
that.
what you said.
I didn't mean that.
And that's
I meant
number
the
one.
town
Well, I
itself.
think I think what it really means is the town has had very, very conservative, tight management.
Very.
Did you hear what I said before, when I said that this budget right here, that $210,000 is the same $210,000 that's been there 3 years? I have not raised my budget. These people haven't got a raise. I mean, we have done the best we can.
Well, shouldn't our taxes go down then?
You would think so, but the county went up 9, they stayed under
Our
2.
taxes,
But
our
our
taxes
town
in the
taxes
town did
didn't.
not go up. Or last year either. It's the county taxes and school
County
taxes that go up.
taxes is what's doing
Look
it.
at your tax bill.
But, I understand.
Look at your
But
town
yet,
highway
every year you
portion
have a
of it.
surplus.
Look at your town to highway
Well, we
portion.
have, but that's just ours, surplus. We don't raise taxes. What do you want me to do, give it to the county? The county raised taxes.
Charge the taxpayers a little less the next year.
Well, we've done a pretty consistent job of keeping our taxes zilch, increases zilch. We don't raise our taxes if we can.
I just have a couple more questions. David was here. Do you get proposals from other
We didn't this
insurance
year.
agents?
We didn't this year, but you should know that we're part of the New York, it's not an insurance, it's an insurance company, but it's a municipal
New York Municipal
insurance reciprocal. And we're members of that particular company. And if you look, well, you don't have the proposal. Insurance premiums have been going down, 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 year after year. So we feel pretty comfortable. In the past, however, David has done quotes from other companies. And the New York reciprocal has always been, the only reason I know this, because I wasn't here prior to last year, but David, I used to own the agency years ago, and he does quote it with other companies, just to keep them.
But you do not ask other agents to submit quotes.
We haven't, and I don't know.
A couple of years ago, Marshall and Sterling was in.
Yes,
Who was
that's
that?
true.
A couple of years ago, Marshall and Sterling was in with the proposal, so.
Yeah, a couple
But
of
you
years
don't
ago,
put
they
it
put
out
it
to
out
the
for.
bid, the same way
Rosie,
you
gotta understand
put
something
a
about
truck
the-
for
You gotta understand something
$40,000.
about the nature of insurance. The nature of insurance is there are only so many markets that are open to municipal coverage.
Right.
And getting a different agent to quote it doesn't change it. It's not a competitive process. And they won't, and once one agent gets a quote from a carrier, another agent is not gonna get a quote from that same carrier. It's just the nature of the insurance business. And the best thing you can do is you have a good agent who goes and looks at all the available markets and gets the quotes. And I think it was either last time or the time before. I remember Dave did do an analysis and gave the board a comparison of the NYMER,
NYMER
prices versus what private carriers were.
Wasn't
And
there also-
NYMER was significantly better.
Wasn't there also something, if we moved out of that, it would have cost us so much more, or we would have not gotten some sort of
Yeah,
a
we do get,
refund or
we
rebate?
get a
or something?
dividend from this
Yeah.
Yeah.
carrier also, because we're members.
That was last year.
Yeah.
Now, there is no ongoing relationship between you and David Bodenstein, is there? Business relationship?
I mean, I help him out on occasion. I'm not on the payroll or anything like that.
Yeah, and just about the land, I mean, my idea was, I mean, at least get it appraised, I mean, I don't know, obviously, we have no influence on what the town does, so.
Just a little thing about the excess $400,000 here, you know. Winter could really set in and set us back too. It's nice to have a little cushion.
Anything can
And,
set
I
us
mean,
back.
Yeah, anything. I
Any,
mean,
any kind of a disaster or anything else.
In reality, you're about to see things go back, because the roads are gonna go to hell, there's no money, we're all in this boat together. I mean, look at your roads, look at everything around us. In the last, you can feel everything going like this in the last 6 months, you can feel things getting tight.
Yep.
Look at the businesses.
You know, Rosie, it's not a bad thing to have surplus.
It's not.
It's a,
That's a large amount of surplus. What
on a
the
million
hell?
and, on a $1.6 million budget, you think it's a lot of surplus? 25%?
I think so.
I don't think so.
How many years has it taken for that to accumulate? That's been probably 8, 10 years that that's been building, correct?
Probably 20 years.
Okay, all right.
I mean, it's, you know, it's a little here and a little there.
What is typical reserves for a municipality? Is it a certain percentage of the budget that
Well,
they
our
usually?
our auditors are very, they were happy they, with our reserves, except they warned us about the sewer department. I mean, there's a really good example. I mean, we got hit with the sewer last year, cost $125,000 as a result of that generator and flood mitigation to relocate it. And it depleted basically all of our surplus.
Now you got
And then we got a $29,000 bill to pay for the pipe across the bridge. So, I mean, and that's a lot smaller budget in comparison, and things can happen, Rosie. That's not a large surplus.
Those are unplanned costs, and we don't have to go back to the taxpayers and hit them with more taxes in order to get that money.
Would you,
we don't
It's
have to
important.
borrow money to
would
do
you
it.
would you be more happy they have it or that they didn't have it? You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm just surprised that there is so much. That's simply
You're
all.
surprised that we've managed so well. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you could say that, Rosie, and I noticed that you didn't say that.
Because I don't think that's not the laughable thing. It's not. Hmm.
Oh, sure. Oh, absolutely. It's prudence.
One of the big problems I remember from serving on the school board, there was a big push at one time to have a zero-based budget. There was no surplus or anything left over. And the boiler hadn't been changed since 1952, and we were waiting for it to blow up. So can you imagine if you reduced everybody's taxes on the school board at one time, 1 year, and the next year you have to raise it by $120,000 because you need a new boiler? People would go through the ceiling. So I think it's prudent.
Any other, yeah.
Just a quick question. When they surveyed, they were on my side of the road, and I said, you know, what are you guys doing over here? And they said there's a little triangle that extends across the road. You know how much acreage is on my side?
I think, Jason, that's just
I
that
didn't
little
see-
point right on the turn, isn't it? Where
I don't know. I didn't look where the markers
well,
were.
I'm pretty sure from when I was a kid, if I'm not mistaken, when you go around the turn, the first turn past your house, there's a little point right there. And the town dumped, years and years ago, they dumped dirt and rocks from the gravel bank, they took them over here.
Where the Hunting Club Road comes down off the
Well,
hill.
if you go past Jason's,
Yeah.
and then you make the turn, like you're going where the road goes up on the hill, there's a
Yeah.
little point right there on the right-hand side of the road.
Huh.
It's pretty minor acreage wise, or?
I don't think it's very much.
Okay.
I don't think it's a lot.
What's that?
You might, I don't really know. All I remember as a kid, that point right there.
Did you see that, did you see all the flags?
No, I saw some, you know, across the road, but I didn't walk and look. I mean, driving by, I see some flags, but I didn't see any on my side, so I just wondering how far it went.
And they do surveys. They
You know,
frequently
that,
have to go on to other properties to get the
Point
last
reference.
certified points.
The triangulation, yeah.
You know, if you'd like to take a look at that survey, you're welcome to it.
Okay, thank you.
Stop by the office and test, well, I guess Lillian has it, right?
Jason, is probably where Tom Foster's land bordered up with yours, you know.
By the stone wall there.
Somewhere's down at that point.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, but you're welcome to take a look at it, sure.
Thank you.
And, you know, and it came in with the contours, so. Anybody else?
Steve.
Steve?
Who's actually brokering the transaction?
You mean a real estate broker?
Yeah.
There is none.
So who are you negotiating with?
I'm negotiating with Coon Rock Hunting Club.
Are there any names of individuals? Is it a corporation or what?
I believe it is a corporation,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's incorporated.
It's incorporated, yeah. I mean, there's some local fellows that are part owners and some fellows from Liberty and.
Are their names public? Or?
You'd have to look up the corporation.
Well, I mean, you want to know the people that I've been talking to? The deals, what's the guy's name from Liberty, the president of the club? I've forgotten his name.
The tax bill goes to him, but I don't remember what it is.
The deal, out of the Deal family, or they're members of that hunting club?
No, Daniel something.
Yeah, Dan something.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Zimmerman?
No.
Zimmerman's out of the picture,
Oh,
right?
Yeah, Zimmerman's out.
That's why you could get it.
Any other questions? Okay, we'd like to adjourn?
Yep.
Can I get a motion to adjourn? Second? All those in favor?
All right. I got an extra one of these if you want it for yours.
I have one.
Nobody wants it?
them away.
3 cents? Okay, 2 is okay.